An artifact of divine lineage. This artifact shall aid me in vanquishing the enemies of One Piece. I'm getting mighty weary again. I cannot afford to faint here. I'd best hurry. My prayers have been heard. I'm grateful for this gift. Now my time ran out. I've got to be lighter on my feet. I can't see a thing. I need to hurry up. The time's come to purify my body. My watch.
Live in the Backlands, or a homeland. Was never a joy. It's nothing but a lack of option.
has brought me an enlightened instrument. A reward for the defenders. reckon fortune's on our side.
僕を選ん行こ
う。私を隊長に？
僕が諦めた方が賢明。あなたたちの結末はただ一つです。
完璧な車線でした。僕を信じ。
皆様と
戦いは苦しみから明日を遠ざけるために。夜を切り裂く。夜を切り裂く。
バール誰一人逃がして発戦機。バール誰一人逃がしません。この力で打ち破ります。出発一斉手加減はなしで。アイナの時間武器は私がコーダを捧げてあげましょう。
これはベストコンビだ。彼らの罪を清算しよう。夜を切りこれで終わりだ。帰ろう。
皆さんとコンチェルトを。ご敬願。
この戦場にも勝利をもたらそう。
ここで星屑にこの曲。どきなさい。オーバーチュアはここまで。ライトモチーフを奏でましょう。グラーベフォルティッシモ。ここで転調します。
集中攻撃。
逃がさない隠れる気。あ、まだまだここからよ。
集中攻撃。
あなたの最高の痛みよ。甘いわよ。まだまだここからよ。笑える。
集中攻撃。
あなたの最高の痛みよ。ここで星屑にこの曲を捧げましょう。オーバーチュアはここまで。ライトモチーフを奏でましょう。グラーベフォルティッシモ。ここで転調します。
集中攻撃。もう死は恐れない。生き抜いてやる。
グレースナイトを取りましょう。
道を切り開く。準備はすでに整っている。行くぞ。立ち止まるのはらしくない。
How is it? I mean, I want to buy it, but everything I've heard about it makes me very apprehensive. Yeah, I like that part. I feel like the people who don't like that part are the same people that complain about AAA fighting games being boring and aggressively balanced. I don't agree with the people complaining about that, but if the netcode is having some issues, I mean, I can understand why that combined with the price is an understandable reason to not want to buy it. I think about the price is like the biggest issue. I'm pretty sure that they will fix the netcode. They kind of have to. I don't see how they can avoid fixing it. Especially since they're going to be doing marketing for it at, like, FGC events and stuff. But I don't know what the hell the publisher is doing with that price. The price is just way too expensive. You can't, like, have the game look that bad and then have netcode issues at $60 because, like, it just doesn't make sense to buy it for the average person because it's pricing at the same price as AAA games, and like netcode has been a lot less of an issue than it was pre-COVID. So I think the price is definitely a big part of the problem. Really strange to come out and say, like, look, this game doesn't have a Grand Theft Auto 6 budget, but then still charge $60 for it is... It's not helping things, I can say that much. The game itself looks fun, but I do feel like the price is killing the game more than the netcode. We've talked about this before, how games can kind of erase anything that happened. They can erase the netcode, right? If they're able to act quickly, they can erase the shit netcode. But the price was doing damage before it was even known that the netcode was bad. And that is the problem. Because you can fix the netcode, but with the game being AAA priced, that's just not doing the game any favors. I want to buy it, but it's just hard for me to justify, especially somebody on a low income, to buy that game. Because it kind of already is a Discord fighter. I mean, they didn't have crossplay. I know that the peak players for it on Steam today was like 270. So it's just really hard for me to justify that, unfortunately. I wish that wasn't the case, but it kind of is. That's kind of why I've always been an advocate of fighting games having actual single-player content. That's the problem with these fighting games that come out, is just... they have some kind of problem that prevents them from having a big player base. Like the price or the netcode or no crossplay, which Hunter x Hunter unfortunately has all three. But then there's like also no single player content either, so you can barely play it. You know, I don't expect like BlazBlue Central Fiction to be popping this long after release, but there's a balance mod for it. There's single player content. I could justify installing it. I had the same problem with DNF Duel. I played quite a bit of that at launch, but then it died in like 3 weeks. And there's no single player content. The only thing they have is a light roguelike survival mode, and that's it. And you can't get matches anymore. It's a complete Discord fighter. You have to go online and beg somebody to play. I really wish these smaller games would understand, like, if you want to compete, you need to have all the things that Hunter x Hunter did resolved, like, before it even releases. And then there also needs to be single-player content. Because it's really weird that it's like a franchise game, and it has, like, no single-player content, like, at all. I think Hunter x Hunter fans could justify $60, you know, even if they're not competitive, if there was like single player content to speak of, but there is none. So it's just a vicious cycle. This keeps happening. Like, how hard is it to put single player content in? We were getting Tekken Force mode like 27 years ago. Like, how can you not put something like that in there? If they had something like that in that Hunter x Hunter game, I would have bought it already. I wouldn't have even cared if the netcode was bad or if it was a Discord fighter. But at that price with no one playing it, I can't justify that price. I could buy, you know, multiple smaller single-player games for that price, and I don't have to worry about connecting to a server, or if I want to bother going into a server and begging somebody to play, which you do not have to do on like literally any other online game. All those things just kind of make me want to steer away. Even I'm a big fan of aiding. I like how their games aren't so esports balanced around just, you know, sucking the fun out of the game and stuff. I like that, but they're pricing themselves in the highest competition, and the game just can't compete. Even if it had rollback and crossplay, the price is still going to turn people off. Yeah, I remember that too. I wanted that game to have Tekken Force. I would have bought it just for that. But apparently the Tekken Force was like a 5-minute Muso level in the story mode. like Nothing Burger. Nothing Burger mode. It really doesn't serve any purpose. Yeah, Namco used to be the best for single-player content in fighting games. Like, they were legit worth buying. Like, even if you never played online or you didn't care about like competitive, you could still justify the price. But even they don't do it anymore. I don't know what's going on with fighting games. It's like people just don't always want to compete, even if there actually are players. That's part of the reason why Street Fighter 6 is so popular, because it has all that Avatar World Tour stuff that's completely disconnected from competitive. And that's why they keep putting out all those shitty avatars. People are buying them. People that care about competitive and like go to tournaments and local meetups and stuff, they don't care about that stuff, but it is selling. And it's very weird that there's been all these fighting games after SF6 that haven't learned that lesson. That there's people that want that kind of stuff, and they're not being served properly. I heard it's very grindy and uninteresting, but the fact still stands that people do play it. The avatars do make money. A lot of the FGC doesn't understand that the people that buy the avatars are not... They're not in Discord servers. They're not, like, complaining about the game or anything. They play it. They're just not... they're not active in the community. But they do buy that stuff. The problem with it is it comes at the cost of, like, the rest of the game. The lack of content, like... 3-month wait between characters, and then like no costumes for the actual characters. I'm not gonna say it's perfect, but they did manage to get a new audience with that game. So I'd like for other developers to at least try. As I get older and I don't really live in a place where I have access to a local meetup for anything. I mean, we barely even have a consistent meetup for mainstream fighting games. Like, Can I justify buying Nen Impact in its current state? No, I can't. I wish I could, but I can't. Like, there's no way I could justify $60 for that game. With no single-player content, bad netcode, no players, and then no crossplay. I want to. I want to support aiding, because I want another Batride War, but the way that they're going about it is not the right way. And that really sucks. What's going on with Mega Man? You want me to rant about what's going on with Mega Man? Because I can. It's going to be a relatively long story. A whole lot of drama. It's probably the most nonsensical gaming drama we've had for a while. I can say that much. But if you guys really want me to explain what happened with Mega Man, I can. But I'm not going to explain it if people don't care. But yeah, it's a lot of drama happened today with the X8 demake. There's no result yet. Don't know if it'll get resolved, but it's not looking good. I definitely agree with you there. I think Tekken Force kinds of things should be the standard. It's like, I'm not competitive in fighting games anymore. I haven't been for, what, like 2-3 years now? I was competitive in Battle for the Grid. That was the last fighting game I really liked. But I'm definitely not competitive anymore. So when these games come out with no single player, I just can't justify it. I could play something like this. This game is going to be $20, and it's single player. There's no server. There's no server to log on to or anything. Like, it's just a game that you can play by yourself. You don't have to worry about how many players are on. Well, if fighting games had that, I would go back to buying them again. I'd say that much. But that is not how things are going currently. They can barely give you an arcade mode. Just putting like a basic arcade or survival mode in a fighting game these days is like a big ask, apparently. Even though there are games from like 25 years ago that had that stuff. So, I kind of accepted that it's not going to become the standard, even though it should be. It's very strange that they don't want to give value to, they want to give value to games like that. So it's less of a waste of money if, it doesn't have players, and you don't have like a local scene of friends, be it online or offline, or some kind of place to play. Because Hunter x Hunter is already a Discord fighter already, and it doesn't help that there's no crossplay, so it's obviously not selling very well, but if it had crossplay, it'd be a little bit more playable. I'm kind of willing to give them the benefit of the doubt with the crossplay, because I know that consistently, Sony is always the problem with crossplay. Sony is at the top of the food chain, just barely above Nintendo, or around Nintendo, so they like to be middle schoolers and block crossplay, and that's probably why it doesn't have it. But I feel like with a small niche game like that, even if it didn't have all those problems and it was more appropriately priced at like $40, there still wouldn't be that many people on. So having all like 4 different versions of the game that can't talk to each other is not great. I don't know how much of an excuse they have, though, because Battle for the Grid was probably even lower budget than,
This artifact shall aid
probably
you in
even lower
vanquishing
budget
your
than Hunter x Hunter,
enemies.
and that game had rollback and crossplay and spectator mode and lobbies. All of that wasn't added at once, admittedly, but they did get it in pretty quick. Alright, I'll explain what's going on with Mega Man. The TLDR is basically the guy that's making the Zero and Axel mod. I guess people were leaking the beta and making videos of it when he didn't want, so he decided to put DRM on it. The problem is that when he put out the version that I played last night, he put server verification and DRM on it. And he also closed up the code, so it's not open source. And the creator of the original DMake is fucking furious about that, because his rules for the X8 DMake was like, look, I'm done with this. It was a passion project. You know, he's working on a commercial game right now, so he doesn't want to spend more time on something that can't be sold, which is understandable. But he came into the Discord server this morning. Actually, it was around the afternoon my time, and TLDR, he basically said that he was furious, you know, that the Zero mod is potentially like collecting data from your computer, requiring a server as well. Keep in mind, I don't know what server the guy has it on, but it's like a Diablo, like it's like a Blizzard tier server. It's gone down like 6 times in the past couple days. So he is furious. He's very upset that that's happening. And from what I understand, the guy who makes the mod is not even wanting to talk it out, because it seems like the best way to solve the problem is to remove the DRM and the server verification and then make it open source. And then everything is resolved. But from what I understand, the creator of the DMake sent him a DM and didn't get a response. So that's kind of where it stands right now. Basically, the guy is breaking rules, and then there's a security issue. I don't really think it collects anything. I think a lot of the videos saying it's going to give you malware are lying. But then there's no real way to tell. And having DRM for a fan game is obviously ridiculous. You know, you expect that when you play, like, PGR or something. You know, it's got kernel level anti-cheat, but, like, it's a gacha game, right? From a big company. You know they're not collecting anything from you that everybody else doesn't already do. and the game works. It's unintrusive, but to have that for a fan game is nuts. And I think what's funny about it is there were people who defended him doing it, because you know how the Mega Man community is. They're very immature. They're like 35-year-old middle schoolers with how they act. They've been sending him like death threats and stuff, and I'm probably trying to DDoS him and all this immature stuff. Like, yeah, the guy made mistakes, but he's human. He does not deserve that. He needs to at least be given the time to, resolve the issue. But, like, the server's gone down so many times and you can't play it. Like, why does this single-player Mega Man fan game that's not even official, why does it need to connect to a server? We already have too much of that in gaming already. Where you have to log on to a server for like a single player game, and now it's happening for a fan game. There's been no updates since early this afternoon, but basically for it to move forward, the main developer guy is going to have to get over himself and talk to the main developer and find a way to, come to some kind of agreement, because it's obviously made him very upset. I mean, I would be too. It's very telling that they banned the creator of the mod. They banned the creator of the mod. How do you ban the creator of the mod? Like, if it wasn't for that guy, there'd be no DMake at all. It's just a complete mess. There's no real nice way to put it. It's something that could be resolved, but unfortunately, everything is a two-way street. Everything's a two-way street when you had to, talk to another person. They had to be willing to talk to you and come to some kind of agreement, and from what I understand, that is not what's happening. The DRM, if it actually isn't as intrusive as those clickbait hit piece videos are saying, is not as bad as the fact that it requires an internet connection. And I don't know what the guy is running it on. He must be running it on like a hand-me-down laptop or something. There have been people in the server asking, like, why can't I connect to the game? Like, oh, the server's down. He needs to reset it. I'm like, what? Why do we need to reset the server for a single-player fan game? I just don't understand the reasoning behind that. Like, why is that necessary? The DRM is one thing if it's actually not as intrusive as people are saying. And it's like a one-time thing and you never had to connect to the internet again. Like, that could make it somewhat acceptable. But the problem is that's not what's happening. If the server goes down, it's just like any other online game. You can't play it. And that's just insanity for something like that. And it doesn't help that the guy has basically broken the agreement for the game, which was to not make your whatever you add to it closed source. The agreement was that it had to be open source, and it's not. But yeah, that's I wouldn't really call it a TLDR, but that's basically what's happened with it. And I can understand, I can understand where he's coming from, because I have dealt with immature franchise fans myself, and I can understand wanting to take some action so that your mental health isn't completely demolished by people, abusing you and threatening you and stuff. I understand that, but the way that he went about defending himself is basically breaking the rules of what the developer of the original one, what he said, and kind of have to abide by those rules, making a mod off someone else's code. And then also the server thing, no one's defending that. The server is very unstable. It feels like playing a Blizzard game at launch. The game doesn't work randomly. You have to wait hours. But yeah, we'll see. There's nothing anybody can do about it right now. The two parties, meaning the original developer and the modder, have to come to some sort of conclusion, but the last thing that the creator said in their Discord was that he's not even responding. He's trying to erase that he made a mistake, or he doesn't want to own up to it, or he's got major anxiety because he's been caught doing shady stuff. I don't really have any defense for the guy, except that I do understand why you would want to put DRM like that. You know, to ban people from, you know, ruining your mental health with insults and stuff. Like, I mean, apparently the guy's been getting death threats, so I'm like, yeah, he made a stupid mistake. He's doing shady stuff, but death threats is way excessive. At worst, you know, maybe the server gets deleted, or he removes the DRM and steps back from modding for a while. Like, don't death threat the guy. Like, come on. Pretty much everybody who's a Mega Man fan, they gotta be like my age, minimum. Like, you'd think that there would be some kind of growing up at some point, but apparently not. The guy hasn't killed anyone. As far as we can tell, he's not like pruning PayPal passwords and stuff off your computer. He doesn't deserve that. Starting to think the Mega Man community doesn't actually deserve a new official game if they're doing stuff like that over this. It's way excessive. Honestly, very creepy that people are doing that.
My prayers have been heard. I'm grateful for this gift.
I went through this with Dynasty Warriors 9. People calling me all these things that are false because I pointed out that the game had good qualities, and people want to be lied to. They want clickbait. They don't want honesty anymore. Now, I've gotten shit flung at me before. I totally understand what he's going through, but he's not approaching it the right way. Now, I have kind of a unique viewpoint on it because I've dealt with it. Seemingly not to the extent that this guy is going through right now, but I know how it is. To put yourself out there and make something for your community and people treat you like dirt and accuse you of things you're not doing. I understand that. I've been there before. But I don't think his method of self-defense and protection is helping. The DRM didn't even work on Steam Deck, Sosuke. You couldn't play the game on the Steam Deck for like 2 days because he had to whitelist the hardware ID for the Steam Deck. he couldn't even play it. Like, obviously it is something to do with the DRM because the original version of the game, you know, made by the one guy, like, that works fine. So, like, obviously whatever he's done to alter the game was affecting Steam Deck compatibility. I've played the game on my kitty sitting machine before. It works. The mod does not. I think the people villainizing the guy are going a little bit overboard, and the people who are threatening him are definitely have some growing up to do. But he definitely is doing things he should not be doing. And of course, clickbait content creators are making it worse than it actually is. They got the whole hate mob going and everything, and that's probably where a lot of the threats are coming from. But on the other hand, drawing attention to the problem is not inherently a bad thing. It's just those clickbait videos are making assumptions that the DRM actually does something malicious, and I seriously doubt it does. Mostly because I've had significantly far worse DRM and anti-cheat on my computer than anything that guy is capable of. Now I know that for a fact. But because the code is closed source, we don't really know the extent of what it is that he's doing with that information, but I don't know. The guy had closed beta testers, and they apparently told him that what he was doing with the DRM was a bad idea, but he did listen. But then he also had to think about, is the guy really going to damage his reputation even more by infecting people with the DRM when the closed beta testers were like trusted friends and members of the community? The answer is no. Because you'd think if you could make a content of that caliber that, like, maybe at some point you would want to move on from fan games and make something commercial, which ironically the original creator of the remake is doing. He's making like a Mega Man style roguelike with melee combat, which looks cool. Which I think is what you should do. I would do that in that situation. The demake was already like commercial quality. I mean, there were some balance issues and stuff, but from what I understand, but it was already commercial quality. Like if Capcom had approached him and told him, like, you know, just make it port it to consoles and Steam officially, and you know, we'll leave you alone. I don't know if it has a name. He hasn't posted any footage of it in a few months. But yeah, it is out there. Yeah, that's basically the gist of it. There's not really going to be any advancements for a while until the two... Well, mostly, I won't say until the two talk, because the original developer is willing to talk it out. But the last update was that he sent him a DM, and the modder was completely ignoring it. So, Who knows what will happen? I know that the link got taken down. The download link is down because people flagged it. I do think people are fear-mongering a little bit. I don't really think that guy is capable of getting any personal information, but the bigger problem is that by doing that, he's given the game service game problems where, you know, the game gets glitched or something and you can't play for 6 hours. And obviously, that stuff has no place in a free fan game. You know, if I play a service game at launch, I kind of expect that, right? Like, you don't expect it to work on launch day. It's just foolish to do that. But for like an indie pixel art remake of Mega Man X8, which came out like 21 years ago, that's literal insanity.
待ってたぞ。
作戦開始。皆さん落ち着いてきっちり決めちゃいましょう。すっごい歓喜到来です。絡め取ります。バッチリ期待に応えてますね。ほらほら絡め取ります。絡め取ります。食らいなさい。遅い。直行はゴール、横は命令。さあお眠りなさい。落ち着いてまいりましょう。行くぞ店長。フランアルボだ。バッチリ承知です。きっちり決めます。フィニッシュ。バッチリ期待に応えてみせます。これではぁ飛びます。絡まされます。おっそこ飛びます。飛びます。ほら火を持って火を救う。私にしかできない芸当ね。飛びます。引用を持って
Yeah, the Mega Man community is showing its immaturity, which is weird because they're all like my age. They haven't grown up since like middle school. Dude, death threats over this? Seriously? Like, come on, man. What is with people? They can't handle stuff like this in a mature way. Like, say your piece. You have a right to be upset and skeptical and anxious about what the DRM is doing to your computer, but like, don't give the guy death. Come on. The dude didn't kill anybody. But no proof he's getting like debit card numbers off your computer or anything. It's gotten... It is a bad situation, but as usual, drama tubers are making it worse, as always. I'm just looking for the next big gaming drama. They don't have any regard for the community or what they're doing. Story as old as time. I think one of the drama tubers actually admitted that he was making the video off assumptions and not fact.
桜霧抜刀参る神のじ勝利だな。だがまだできたはず。
Alright, I think I'm gonna try to get some rest. My eyes are feeling pretty heavy. It's also very hot in this room, so I'm trying to be back on in the morning. I did apply for a key for Hell Clock, that Diablo style game I was playing in this stream. I don't know how high their demand is, but I don't know, they may or may not give me one. I think there is going to be an embargo on it if they do. I looked at the page and they said that there was a embargo, so if I do get that, I may not be too active, but got that, got Abyss to work on, got Lost Judgment mods, some other stuff from the sale to check out, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. I wanted to go a little bit longer. Yeah, my eyes are feeling heavy. I think I should let my body rest. I'll see you guys in the morning, hopefully